if I had a sex tape, and I said I had one now,
we could be living like the Kardashians, Brittany. Take one for the team.
someone would be hacking into my phone to try and get it. Like 100%.
Don't flatter yourself.
They would. Hi, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Life Uncut. I'm Brittany.
And I'm Keeshia.
Keeshia, please tell everyone what just happened.
This was something that if you're the type of person who has a bit of a queasy stomach, like it feels, me too. So I won't go into too much detail. Okay, so as I was driving here this morning, I got to this certain part of traffic and something that, I don't know if I've said this on the podcast before, but I have the most raging motion sickness. Like I don't know what happens. It just takes over my body in any form of like transport.
I piggybacked you one day and you vomited. That was a wild ride, wasn't it?
Remember that time we went to the Great Barrier Reef and I was so excited. I'd never seen it before.
Remember that time I took you on a helicopter and you vomited with about 30 centimetres away from me the whole time and all I could smell was vomit, so I sympathy vomited? How could I forget?
Really bad. I filled 3 vomit bags that day. Yeah, it's a real problem. And travel sickness meds don't work. Like I know everyone would be like, just take some of those. Firstly, they make you super drowsy. Secondly, they don't work. There was one time I was going to see, the Blue Grotto, is it?
The Blue Grotto, yeah.
Yeah, in Capri.
Yeah.
I was so excited, but I knew I was going to be on a boat all day, so I took seasickness medication. I fucking slept through the whole thing. They made me so drowsy that I missed it. I woke up and I was like, are we there? And they were like, Keeshia, you've been pretty much passed out the whole time.
You're back in the hostel.
I know. You're back on the bus.
Is this a dream? Is
Anyway,
this a vivid dream?
So it's a problem that I face a lot. But usually when I'm driving, it's not an issue.
You also were sick. I don't know why we were rattling every time you were sick off. You were also sick on our tour bus when we were touring in Australia. Who are we? When when the Life Uncut show was touring, we weren't like rock stars. But you were sick on that too. You don't do well with anything.
I really don't, which doesn't match my personality because I really like the adventures. I like the activities.
Yeah, but you need the adventures on foot.
on level ground. Anyway, I was driving to work this morning and I was in a little bit of traffic, so it was a little bit stop-starty, but there was just the strangest thing happened. It just took over my body, and I was like, oh, my God, I'm going to throw up. And I panicked, and I looked around, and I was like, what can I throw up into? I'm going to need to throw up. Anyway, the closest thing I could find was my
Frank
Green drink bottle.
This is not sponsored.
Not sponsored. I would like a new one. Someone's commented on our YouTube before that my drink bottle and all the dints on it really pisses them off. So sorry about that.
And if Frank Green are sending them, I would like one too.
Anyway, I looked at it and I was like, the panic was taking over. The water bottle was full. But I have this little silicone thing on the bottom of my drink bottle and it's so that it doesn't get banged up as much. It's also so that in recordings I can put it down and it doesn't bang the microphone.
Why did I always think that was like an inbuilt dog water bowl?
It can work like that. I do use it for the girls. However, this morning I ripped this thing off the bottom, but it was a little bit too late and some of it had already started to come out.
So you threw up in your Frank Green drink bottle?
Well, I kind of half threw up on myself and half threw up into this little cuppy thing.
Did we just brainstorm Frank Green's new marketing campaign?
For when you get sick.
Morning sickness,
It
motion
was
sickness.
so strange. And I still don't know what it was. I don't know if I ate something bad last night. I hadn't had coffee yet, so it couldn't have been that.
I was doing burnouts this morning, doughies in a circle. Maybe it was that.
I backflipped my way into the car. It was very bizarre. But anyway, this might be a little bit of behind the scenes and I could be giving away some of our secrets. I kind of threw up onto myself and I was like, this is really embarrassing. Like, I'm 32 years old. Why is this happening? This happens to children.
No, because it obviously wasn't motion sickness. It was you've obviously had like a bad prawn. I don't know what you had, but like something didn't sit right with you because that's not normal. You don't just usually drive and barf out the side.
Yeah, certainly not when I'm driving. I reckon I might have had some salad leaves last night that were probably a little bit too old, if I'm being honest. I think they've been in the crisper for too long.
I don't know if lettuce does that to you.
I reckon salad can actually make you quite sick.
It can harvest bacteria and stuff, but I always thought that was from like the water anyway, whatever.
This is why I shouldn't eat salad. Anyway, I had a change of clothes in my bag because sometimes when we have multiple recordings on the same day, we try to bring a different shirt or something, just so that it doesn't look like it's been on the same day.
This is why you don't eat salad. This is why you have my diet and you eat dino nuggets. I've never been
make you sick.
No, that is the BTS. We do often do multiple interviews in a day. Like yesterday was one of those examples. We had a 10-hour day or something, and we bring changes of clothes to look like they're different days, but they're not. But I did walk in today and Keisha's like, am I giving Hawaiian dad on holiday?
It is very
I was like a little bit, but it's cute.
Well, it's also going to be for multiple recordings today because my other shirt has literally got stuff down the front that makes me look like I'm a child.
I'm so lazy now that my outfit changes. I just layer. And so I'm just going to take the jumper off and I've got a shirt underneath, and then the next one I take it off and I've got a singlet, the same skirt and boots, and I just take it off.
That's brilliant.
That is so funny.
Sorry guys, I know it's Monday morning and I just hope that you're having a better commute to work than what I am.
You know what is funny? Can you remind me, I cannot think of the comment, but we laughed about this. We probably shouldn't laugh, but I just want to say something because someone's going to write to us on this as well. Trigger warnings. We will not be doing trigger warnings when we are talking about egg icks. We are not going to be doing trigger warnings when we speak about Keeshia vomiting. And what was the one someone wrote into us? It was ridiculous. Someone wrote in a couple of days ago of something we spoke about, and they were like, hey guys, would it be nice to have a trigger warning? And it was so funny. I think it was the egg ick.
No, it was actually from last week's Ask Uncut, and it was the question about the father-in-law that was pet sitting but also was quite dirty. And he had a stoma bag. And so sometimes, when he was emptying the bag, he would spill it. And so we were talking about stuff going down We were talking about feces going down the front of the toilet bowl. I'm sorry, we can't have – that this is going to be I know that this is going to piss a lot of people off.
Yeah, it's controversial.
Trigger warnings, there has been research done on them.
Mm-hmm.
They don't work.
It can make it worse.
It actually can put people into a state of anxiety. There has been actual research done on this. And every now and then when we're talking about something that is particularly heavy or particularly triggering for, I'm using that word, for people to listen to, we will occasionally do them. I'm not putting them on the front
of pooing.
If we were to put a trigger warning on the front of something that could trigger anybody, we would literally have to do it for every single conversation we ever have.
But it's a bit ridiculous. Guys, we're not going to trigger warning a stoma bag and someone that accidentally spilled their poo. I'm sorry. And
sometimes it confuses me when it's in the title as well, when it's in the heading.
I was about to say, I was listening to a podcast the other day that was talking about this, and they said exactly that. They were someone had written into them and said, would it be nice to have a trigger warning? And they were like, it's literally the title of the episode. For example, it might have been the day I lost my dad or something. And I've just made that up, right? But someone's like, hey, would it be nice to have a trigger warning because I've lost my dad? And they were like, but it's the title, what it is. It's the title of the episode. It's in the bio. This idea of everyone being so triggered by stuff. If you're triggered by poo, you need to figure your shit out. And there was no pun intended in that actually, but that was brilliant.
Yeah, look, obviously we're talking about things that are a little bit more frivolous or a little bit more surface level. I understand that there are genuinely things that people feel as though it takes them back to a place where something really horrible happened to them or an experience that they didn't necessarily want to think about in that moment. I understand that there are uses for them and we try to use our discretion for when that might be, but also it's kind of hard to understand what will cause everybody to flash back to an experience that is really triggering for them. So yeah,
but this
the reason I'm saying that is because I don't want it to make it sound as though we're trigger warnings are fucking useless, get over yourselves. It's just that if we were to put a trigger warning on everything that we are asked to put a trigger warning on, you would have an episode that was just trigger warning question, trigger warning question.
But the problem is too, and now that we're just going to sit in this and get serious, because we may as well unpack it a little bit. The reason we battle with it, and the reason you might hear a lot of people battle with it, there's probably a lot of broadcasters and podcasters and people that you think should use it that don't. And we battle with it because we have always used in the past and tried to use trigger warnings for things that we deem to warrant it and to be serious enough. We laugh. We're never going to do it for things like poo, right? Or Keeshia vomiting or the egg ick. That's fucking ridiculous. But the reason we battle with it is because we take it very seriously. So we looked into the research behind it and the science behind it. And just so, instead of just saying there is research, just so you understand, For example, like you can Google this and there are so many research articles, but Psychology Today has literally an article on anxiety. The heading is, "Do trigger warnings work?" Research finds trigger warnings may not help reduce negative emotions. It goes on to say they do not serve their intended purpose. They don't reduce the emotional distress of experiencing graphic content. And they also don't lead people to avoid or opt out of graphic content, but they do lead to more anticipatory anxiety before viewing the graphic content. So just so you guys know, sometimes if we don't put it on, it's because the research says we shouldn't. And I know from the outside, if you haven't heard that research, you're like, well, that's not cool. You should be trigger warning. But we've actually done enough due diligence to say, well, you know what? The science says it's not actually helping you.
And there are situations that I think they are needed.
And we still do it for some,
Yes,
for
yeah.
sure. But that's what I mean by it's our internal battle is like we want to do it because we want you guys to know we're thinking about it. But on the other side, we're saying, well, what are you supposed to do if research is literally saying that by doing it, you may be making things worse. So it's a tricky battle.
Yeah, and I kind of battle between this idea of being in a bit of a cowboy and just like cutting loose. And then
the trigger warning cowboy.
Do you know what I mean?
You get a trigger warning. You get a trigger warning.
Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to say that they're so ridiculous, we're never going to use them, because I also don't want to cause anyone emotional distress.
I just think that's interesting. It's interesting for you guys to know that research behind it. And I encourage you to go and have a look at that yourself because it is fascinating.
I agree. Should we get into our vibes for the week?
Yeah, you kick it off, Hawaiian Dad.
For multiple recordings.
No, I'm joking. I actually love that
I am
shirt.
vibing, bringing a change of clothes to work in case you throw up on yourself.
Wait, can I just say one other thing? Keeshia does the socials, right? So she did our stories last week and the vibes and unsubscribes. The number of people that messaged me.
I totally stitched you up here.
The number of people messaged me saying, are you vibing yourself? Because Keeshia goes, Britt's vibe. And it was a picture of me. That was it. No context. Britt's vibe, me. Like looking hot at my hands. That was it. And I was like, bro, you stitched me up. Keisha's was like, mine is an academic paper. Britt's vibing herself. I was like, fuck you. I was like, sorry. And the number of people I had to copy and paste and be like, hey, I'm not actually vibing myself.
If
it was
they clicked the link, they would have seen that you vibed the necklace you were wearing in that picture.
People don't click it. You've just you set me up for failure. You made me look like a narcissist that is feeling myself.
Maybe we should have put a trigger warning on that vibe and said she's not actually vibing herself. Yeah, no, sorry. I actually did fuck you over there. That's my bad. I will put my hand in the air.
Yeah, Keisha's like, whoops.
I will make sure I label it more clearly next time. My vibe this week is it's actually like a fiction book, like a novel. I am not a reader, as you know. I am an audiobook listener. And every now and then I would just get to a phase where I listen to a lot of podcasts, like probably about 3 hours a day. I tend to have them on a lot. And every now and then I'll just get to this point where I'm like, I think I need a little bit of sugar. I need a bit of like a nice story to listen to. And I've vibed Emily Henry before. She is an author that I really, really like. This particular book is my favorite one that I've listened to. I was going to say that I've read of hers. It's called Great Big Beautiful Life. So it was actually one of the Reese Witherspoon book club picks as well. And it's about two writers. I'm going to read you like a little sentence blurb for you. Two writers compete for the chance to tell the larger-than-life story of an heiress who has been in hiding for decades. So what I love about Emily Henry books is that you kind of have the main storyline, and then there's all these kind of intertwined storylines. This is probably about every fiction book
I was like, isn't
ever.
that just a book? I think But the thing I love about her as an author is she writes.
Well, there's a lot of different generations of stories that come out.
Like it's more complex. Some people are definitely more complex writers.
Yeah. And so there's always a romance story or even sometimes a few. And I loved this book. I really, really enjoyed it. It had a twist towards the end that I didn't see coming. And yeah, I just think it's fantastic if you are in a bit of a mood where you need just a novel that's really nice to either listen to or to read and you like that kind of thing. It's not in the fantasy world. It's not really in any of the dragons or, you know, any of the smut that there was actually one scene in this that was kind of hot. It was like a little bit steamy. So there's a little bit of that dribbled in, but it's Emily Henry.
There's a little bit of smut dribbled in. Made me a little bit moist.
You were away when I spoke about this. We spoke about cliterature. It would be about a year and a half ago. And I spoke about pucking around. It was the first smut book I read and I went from 0 to 100. It was intense. And at one point I read out a paragraph to Laura and it was so funny. But then we posted a video of it on Instagram and the author of the book commented on it and I wanted to die. I was so embarrassed. I was like, oh no. Like I felt as though it seemed as though we were making a joke about. We weren't. It was just that, reading out smut. There's no way you can do it if you're reading it out loud on a podcast without laughing. So yeah, I'm never going to do that again.
Oh my God. Okay. Great book. Great.
Yes.
Great
Emily
smutty
Henry,
list book.
Great, big, beautiful life.
Okay. Wonderful. My vibe this week is actually an Instagram account. It's this account that I've just become absolutely obsessed with. It's an Instagram called Parker Get a Job. All one word. Parker's his name, I guess. I don't know.
Does Parker have a job?
He's a 23-year-old American guy. He has 1 million followers. He is a debater. His whole Instagram is political. He's obviously a highly intelligent, very well researched young man. And if you're pro-Trump, don't follow him. So he's like a podcaster. So he gets like people to call up and he'll just ask them he just chats to them, right? He just wants to get to know them and he wants to get to know who they are and what they're about and why they feel so strongly about Trump and his policies and whatever else. But it's comedic without it trying to be. It's a real insight to how it's operating and I learn a lot from him. So you'll laugh, you become obsessed with these reels, but he's just so well educated, so well versed on it. And he has some really big debates. Like he was like a person that was debating Charlie Kirk a lot. That was what Charlie Kirk did. He went around to schools and unis and he was debating. So Parker Get a Job, this guy, he's got multiple reels of him debating Charlie over the years. And they're great to watch, but he was also there when Charlie was shot. He was there at the moment and he's got a video like running away, like when he was assassinated. He's got a video running away being like, we don't know what's going on. We think someone's been shot. Like he's so involved in that world is what I'm saying, like that political debating world. But that's obviously, that's not why I'm vibing it. It's horrific. But just him as a person, I just think I love what he's done and I'm just so fascinated with his content. Obviously, you still need to be watching it to do your own research. Do not go and watch it for the sake of like, I'm going there to learn. Watch it as much for entertainment as it is for like, hey, is that policy real? Is that something that really happened? And then you can look it up yourself as well.
Well, once you just said this, I've searched him on Google and I was like, oh, I've seen this guy. There was actually a time where I was going to bring one of the things he said to the podcast as something we might want to do a bit of an unpack on. And it was really interesting. The question he posed to someone else was, do you think men are better in leadership positions?
Yep, I've seen that one.
So the guy responded being like, yes, we're naturally, better at it, blah, blah, blah. His response to the person was all about the physiological reasons that women handle stress better. Mm-hmm. He used statistics of like violence and suicide and all these different things that show that women are actually a little bit more emotionally equipped to be in leadership positions. However, he did claim one thing about physiology about basically he said that, there's an area of the brainstem that is thicker in women. And he's like, that's why they're better at handling this. That's not necessarily the case. Like just because something does exist physiologically doesn't mean that that's the reason. So the thing that I like about this type of content though, and even though I disagreed almost entirely with everything that Charlie Kirk said during his debates, I really do enjoy hearing the other side and hearing kind of the perspective of people who feel differently. And I think that when you get to see both sides of that dynamic, like we are getting more polarized. I mean, it's true. Like our algorithms are so polarized that you will often only see the perspective that you agree with. And so it's good for me to see the conflicting perspectives and have it debated by people who have intelligent arguments or even are just able to express their opinion in a way that isn't going to cause an argument. It is a debate. I really do enjoy that type of content and learning from it.
Yeah, the reason that the reason I feel like people like this are so good is that, for example, he's so against Trump. He's so against Charlie Kirk. But when that happened and Charlie was assassinated, and like he has so much content, promoting that he's debating these people. When that assassination happened, he did a whole thing that was like, what the fuck, guys? Like, this is not the answer. This is somebody that so thoroughly publicly disagrees with somebody and can still be saying, like, what are we doing? Like, this is not the answer. And I think that we need more of those people, that you can disagree with somebody and it doesn't mean you wish harm on somebody. So anyway, I know that vibe took a deeper turn. No, but it's I just recommend going and having a look and see if you like him.
Perfect. Let's get into the questions.
Question number 1. Thinking about making a sex tape for my boyfriend. My partner and I are thinking about making a sex tape. He's a FIFO, so flying fly out, week on, week off. We can't really talk on the phone or FaceTime because of his job. He's always around all these other people and he sleeps in like a swag. He sleeps in, I think that they put them in like rooms of people. But the point is there's a lot of people around him. So if he had a call, everyone's going to hear what they're talking. Definitely can't be doing sexy time on a call. So like at the most, it's, hey, how you going? Now, I really trust him and I don't have any fears that he will show anyone or anything bad will happen. Am I being stupid because things live on the internet forever and it could always get out somehow? Whilst I think this is my person, I guess you can break up one day and then maybe it will get out. I don't know. Do I do it or not? Also, have you ever done it? I love you girls so much and I couldn't think of anyone else that I would possibly ask if they've made a kinky sex tape. That's directed at you, obviously, Keeshia.
Is it?
I'm joking.
Have you made one?
No, I've never.
Ever?
No, I have hand on heart, never made a sex tape and personally, I will never do it.
Okay, well, me saying ever to that probably implies what my answer to this is.
Yeah, obviously Keeshia has.
I've made multiple, I think.
Wow.
I think. Do I regret
Multis?
it?
With the same person or multiple with different people? Are you every relationship?
I would like to plead the fifth.
Okay, I think we can read between the condoms.
Do I regret it?
Well, hang on. How many are we talking?
Not many. Not
If
many.
any.
There was definitely one boyfriend in particular that like really enjoyed it, and we had an element of distance to our relationship. So like the only reason I regret it is because of who it was with, because I now have really negative feelings about that person. So it's not actually the video making or the fact that it exists that I regret. It's him that I regret. Does that make sense? Like, does that distinction make sense?
Of course.
And it's not because I am fearful that he will ever leak it or anything like that. I just don't like the fact that he still has it and I hate him.
Do you know what it is for me? I mean, you can do what you want, right? Like, sex is a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
You trust your partner, absolutely. That's why you're with your partner. You think they're going to be forever. And I hate to be a Debbie Downer. You just don't know. And I say that because I've been in it. You guys all know I was with someone for 2 years I thought I was going to marry. And he had fucking 6 people on the go in another relationship that it was identical to mine. Like he was marrying someone else and I would have put my life on it that wasn't the case. And he, funnily enough, was the only person that's ever really wanted to make one. I remember he was the one that wanted to.
It's always the narcissistic ones, isn't it?
And I just think, thank God I didn't, because this person was unhinged. I just didn't know. I just also think the way technology is progressing is really scary. The way people are hacking things, the way data's being leaked and videos are being leaked. And I don't want to come across as just like this boring older sister that's like reprimanding you. But I just think you need to be so careful. And unfortunately, this goes so much further than trusting your partner. Like back in the day, it used to, the internet wasn't a thing. When there was dial up, like VCR films, you know, it was a different time. And now I just think it is far too easy for something to go wrong or for it to be leaked, or I don't know. It's for me, I just think there's so much more you can do in a relationship to fill that void. There are different intimacies that you can have, but at the end of the day, do what you want, but you need to be hyper aware of what can happen. That's what I think, and how that's going to make you feel if that does happen. I
definitely agree with the like cyber element of it. I mean, we are protected more by revenge porn laws than what we ever have been before, which is a great thing. And that being said, though, like you're in a situation that is a bit abnormal, and I think like your partner might love it. Like it might be the absolute best thing that gets him through these like long stints where he's doing fly in, fly out. Like they're pretty brutal days.
Yeah, but you don't do a sex tape with someone to get him through the fucking swag he's sleeping in. Like that's
what do you mean?
No, I disagree with that.
That's being a supportive partner.
Send him a boob. Send him a boob photo. No face. No defining features.
Look,
send him a titty.
I'm definitely not against it. I think it can be really fun, and I do think that there is an element that it spices things up for you. I don't know if everyone would feel this way, but it definitely is like hot watching you enjoy that with your partner back. But if you are worried about security concerns, not necessarily because you don't trust that person, And not even because you think that there is a chance you might break up. It's more so about cybersecurity for me. It's the fact that like neither of us may be in control of the fact that those things, they go to a cloud server, they can be taken. If you are going to do it, I would recommend putting it in one of those apps that has like additional protection.
And wear like a sleeping bag over your head on top. Wear a Batman mask.
Oh my days.
Batman.
But yeah, like it surprises me that not more people have done this.
I think lots of people have. And
yeah.
the thing is, Keeshia, I'm not arguing with anything you said. Everything you said is right. It's hot. It's great to watch back. It spices things up. That's not the argument. The argument is the juice worth the squeeze? Imagine everything you do now with the internet, you have to think what is the worst case scenario. Because once that is out there, and like you said it, you said once it's out there, it's out there. That's absolutely fucking true. Like you cannot get anything off the internet. Like you cannot scrub it.
Yeah, but you do look pretty hot in it.
Have you met a sex tape nurse? Have you? Videographer Ness. Imagine the cinematography on that. She's a videographer. She fucking had multiple
The lighting's perfect.
Multiple angles, 4K high definition.
Add a little contrast here, shadows down.
And do you trust that to live like on both of your phones or like old one? Okay, so it was an old relationship and Ness kept it on her phone. So that's obviously something like...
Ness, that's really interesting to me though, because in my current relationship, I have never in my life received a nude from the person I've been with for 2.5 years. And he was the first person that I'd been with.
We're not even allowed to use his name.
That, like,
he's not sending nudes.
Do you know what I mean? That's the first person I've been with that hasn't done that and hasn't, like, he would never.
Dude, if we can
He would never make a sex tape. But it's interesting to me that, like, our long-term relationships, Ness has been in a relationship for
like 10 years.
Yeah, like a decade. But it's only past ones when we're a little bit more, maybe a little bit more young and naive and a little bit more risque.
If Toblerone ever let you say his name out loud, that would be hot for you because like that's what's sexy. You're like, let me say your name. Say it.
He's a private person. Do you know what? I actually just thought that a solution to this could be, and hear me out, a lot of us have old phones, right? Like old ones that are from a previous model or whatever. What you could do is film it on that and have it on airplane mode. So that,
but you're still missing that they have it. You're still missing the point of like someone that might not be with you forever and that you might not trust will still have that data. Someone that is in a swag with a bunch of men on the other side of the country or the world or wherever he is. And I'm not saying you don't trust him. That's not what I'm saying. You just have to be hyper aware of what can happen. I just think like, I mean, you do you, of course. There are people that do sex tapes and stuff with I know we laughed, but there's people that do it with their face covered, or there's people that do it from an angle that might be just from behind and you can't see the identity of the person. Like there is ways around it. And I don't mean to say I have a really boring relationship, but if my daughter came to me and asked me now, my advice would be no. And it's not based on a stigma. I'd be like, go for gold.
You're
and
a prude.
I'd be like, do what you want. But I'm just so hyper aware of the internet, you know. And imagine if I had a sex tape and I said I had one now, someone would be hacking
living like the Kardashians, Brittany. Take one for the team.
Someone would be hacking into my phone to try and get it. Like 100%.
Don't flatter yourself.
They would. They absolutely fucking would. Because remember poor Olivia Valance? Do you guys remember?
Yes,
Olivia Valance, that happened to her.
But there's laws now. Like it has changed. Things have caught up. We actually had a woman named Kayla who was on that website, Is Anybody Up? We did a revenge porn episode with her. Also, the word revenge porn is something that I have really become hyper aware of the fact that we should not be calling it revenge porn because it's not pornography. Pornography is consensual. Yeah. This is like revenge sexual assault material. Yeah. And that was something that I am glad I became aware of more recently. But look, I think a very good solution to this could be use one of your old phones, film it only on that, disconnect it from being able to connect to any form of like 4G, 5G or Wi-Fi so it can't go to a cloud server.
Anything
and if you
can
break
go
up,
to a cloud server, Keisha.
If you break up, that phone comes back to you. So you're the only one who owns it.
The guy, the lovely man that's got your sex tape that's breaking up with you is going to be like, here, take all your sexy data back. They're keeping it. Your ex that you had the sex tape with, he's got that.
I wonder if he watches it.
He does.
No, he definitely wouldn't.
Oh,
he dislikes me as much as I dislike
Send him some nudes. Send him some nudes. Remember when I used to do, I think I've shown Keeshia my nudes before and Laura, like I've shown them my nudes and I've been like, is this hot or not? Not full, you know. But like
I haven't seen your bits. I've seen your tits.
Do you remember that one I thought was really cool? And I took a nude where the vase was just covering like my
You thought it was like arty?
I was like, this is so arty. And it was It was hot. But like, I think I cut my face out too. All he got was some boobs and then a vase over my vagina. I was like, because that's how worried I am. And you know what? I'm not with that person. So
the vase lives on.
the vase lives on, but no one knows the face. So no one knows who naked vase lady is if that got out. Except now, all of you. If you've seen a naked vase lady, it's highly likely it's me.
All right, next question. How to discuss finances / de facto with my new boyfriend. I earn much more. I've been seeing a guy for about 5 to 6 months. All is going great and he is a walking green flag. I'm starting to feel myself getting a bit more invested, but I'm still not 100% sure. I'm a bit of an overthinker and it takes me a while to fully trust and warm up to someone. My problem is a financial one. I have a relatively successful business, I'm talking 7 figures, which he is aware of. I understand that there will come a time where we have to discuss what this looks like going forward and when we are classed as a de facto relationship, how our finances will look. I know that there are some criteria that has to be met before being classified as de facto and what he might be entitled to should we continue on this steady path. In my opinion, everything that I have earned before him in my business and property purchases is considered my own, and I worry that he could be entitled to that when we are considered de facto. Not that I think he would ever take anything from me, but you never know. The thing is, I am unsure of when I should broach this topic with him. Part of me wants to discuss it now so that I know we are on the same page rather than getting another 1 to 2 years in, and if he's unhappy about it, that's a big red flag to me. Is it worth having this conversation sooner rather than later? And if so, how would you go about discussing it? We are quite open with everything else and we know what each other earns and salaries, etc. He also partially owns a property and is on a 6-figure salary.
Yeah, so he's not doing bad either.
No, he's doing fantastic.
Okay, I have some strong feelings about this. Firstly, like hats off to you for earning absolute bank and setting your life up. That is amazing. Now I want you to protect that. And the reason I say that is, so I'm almost going to say the same thing I just said in the sex tape thing when you said, I don't think he would ever do anything or he would ever be the kind of person that would take from me. Of course you don't. Like that's why we date people. If you thought that somebody would take or steal from you or take your hard-earned property in cash, you wouldn't be with them. But the fact is people do every single day. And money makes people monsters. Like greed is something that it just tears families apart, tears relationships apart. Money's really hard to come by, especially in this economic crisis that we're in.
I've also actually seen people in my life do things when it comes to money that I didn't think they would ever do. And I've been really disappointed. You know, like I've seen people kind of being taken to the cleaners, and I've also seen people take money that I don't think was rightfully theirs.
I'm experiencing something in my life right now that is exactly that. And I will say it is not my family, obviously not my relationship, but someone that is being the ugliest person over money.
It's me. I'm trying to extort Britt.
She's asking for a pay rise. But, you know, one day maybe I'll talk about that. But I just think it is so important. And I had a life set up before I met Ben. I'll use myself as an example. I had bought myself an investment property many, many years ago that I had worked so fucking hard for. Like since I was 20 years old, I had been hustling. Bought myself an investment property, put a little bit of money in shares to try and set myself up, especially because I was like, cool, I'm in my 30s. I'm single. I'm never going to have that shared relationship money with someone. I've got to set my life up now for myself and act like maybe I won't meet somebody. And I'm so proud to say that I did, and I made some really good decisions.
But can I actually interrupt you here? This is something I don't think a lot of people actually know the truth about you. And I think it's something that you see the lifestyle that you have now. And something that I think a lot of people don't know is how much you built that for yourself. Like you didn't have an abundant financial education. Your upbringing, you weren't given any money to go towards that property, for example. Like you really didn't come from a point of financial privilege. And I think it's really inspiring the way that you have set yourself up from a place where like you didn't have a leg up. You didn't even have the education that would give you the leg up. Like
I went to school.
Yeah, but what I mean is like
I finished uni.
I think when you come from money, when it's like generational, it's almost inbuilt. Those values and stuff are inbuilt into you so that you understand how to invest in anything, whether it be property or stocks or whatever, how to be a good saver. Money values are something that we are taught without even really knowing about it when we're growing up. And I actually think it's really admirable the fact that you have been able to build that for yourself. And so that's
thanks,
why
Kesh.
I understand it's so important for you that when you were dating or whether you were getting into a relationship, you felt the need to protect that because you had literally built it from the ground up yourself.
Yeah, and I mean, I had the best upbringing. Like, I'm one of 4 kids, all 18 months apart, very close, just from a small town in Port Macquarie. My
Hot
hot
dad.
parents. My parents been together forever, the most stable family.
Yeah.
But we just were very, very normal. My
Yeah.
parents worked so hard for us to not miss out on anything, but we've never been given. They got us through school and sent us to uni to get our education, and then we're adults. You're on our own.
Yeah.
We're not getting money for houses. No, absolutely not. But it's funny because I was very financially driven being young. I remember going and buying finance books when I was 18, 17, 18 and just reading them at home instead of like novels because I was like, how am I going to make my life easier? Like, what can I do with my money? I didn't want to be making mistakes. And I bought my first house at 20. This sounds wild now. I bought it off like a 95% loan. I think I had, you guys are going to laugh, $8,000 deposit. And it was a big house, but that was it. But they used to loan for that, you used to be able to get property. But like my point is like I have worked very hard and I haven't been given anything. But the bigger point is you just, and I hate being like this person, but you just can't trust people. I read an article on the way in here, very different, literally like an hour ago. And it was that Sia, the singer, she's getting divorced. She's only been with him for 2 years. And he is now saying, well, you've set me up with a lifestyle. I'm too used to it. I want $250,000 a month, $500,000 initial payout up front. He's like, because in the last 2 years, you've made me want this lifestyle. She wouldn't have married him thinking that he's going to be doing that. Anyway, that's my thing. But so when I got with Ben, we had a really frank discussion because I thought I don't care who you are, how much I love you. There's no way I'm going to let someone into something that I have built to take it from me. And we just set the ground really early. And I said, look, this is what I've already done for myself. And that will be mine forever. Whether we're together for 30 years, that's mine. And he was like, abso-fucking-lutely. And we signed something that states that. So if we ever split up, we'll split everything from here on in, but he can't touch that. And I would so strongly advise that you do the same thing and you do it soon. Like, so I technically, it's a bit blurry. We tried to look it up, but technically they say now, like on the Australian Family Lawyers website, 2 years living together is considered de facto, but it can be less than that based situation to situation. So if he wanted to and he said, look, we've been together for a year, we have a shared account, like I have seen people in my own life who have lost everything to a partner, including their superannuation because they took it to a lawyer and the judge was like, yeah, fuck it. You guys have been together a couple of years, you can take half of everything. So it's just a protection thing. I think like it's yours. If he has an issue with you saying, hey, I just want to ensure that, what's mine is mine. Are you okay with that? If he has an issue with that, I'd be getting the fuck out of there.
Do you know what, actually? I come to this conversation from the other perspective where I would be more like your partner in this. And my partner, when we got together, he already owned a home and in WA, and he also earns more money than me. And his family have more money than what I have. And we had these conversations pretty early on. I actually think I was the one who brought it up because we moved in together after only 9 months of dating.
Keeshia brought up, she's like, I just want you to know that I will take the house if we split.
I just want you to know, all man. No, quite the opposite. I actually took it as an opportunity. I think a lot of the time these things are viewed so negatively, like, oh, you're going to think that I'm insinuating we're going to break up. I actually used it as an opportunity, not to prove myself and that was never my intention, but to make it really fucking clear that wasn't why I was in this relationship. And so I remember I brought it up and I was like, hey, I just want to let you know, like with us moving in together, if there's any type of agreement that you want me to legally sign or, we want to have a conversation about it, I just want you to know that my intentions are X and Y. This is how I see things. I would never want to take from you. I would never want you to take from me. We bought a house together this year in April and we're not equal owners of that home. He's a 60% owner and I'm a 40% owner because he came to the equation with a lot more money than what I did. And so we have that kind of in the home ownership agreement. But it's interesting to me when people feel really uncomfortable about having these conversations because I don't see it as a negative thing. I actually see it as a way to kind of show that you have shared values of the fact that that's how you both see finances and that's how you both see entering a relationship for reasons other than money. You know what I mean? I know that you shouldn't have to prove yourself, but I think it's a really quick way to prove yourself and to prove that you are both aligned on those values.
Totally. And it's very different. Obviously, we are talking about this specific situation. It's obviously different when you've been married for X amount of years.
Yeah.
You've had kids. You're at home. You've given up an income for however many years.
Or even if you don't have children, but you've moved around to chase one person's career and therefore the other person's have had to take a back step and
any
factors like that.
Yeah, there are definitely factors where obviously splits are entitled, but just this isn't one. And in this situation, I just think protect yourself now. It's a piece of paper. Go to a lawyer, go to an accounting firm that has like whoever looks after your accounting. Sometimes they have lawyers attached that they can recommend. It's so quick and easy. You say, hey, this is what's mine right now. How do I insure it? And maybe it's the difference between, they'll give you advice. It might be the difference in saying, hey, let's move it into a family trust. Like the title of your property can mean very different things in terms of protection. You could put it into like a dependent's name. There are so many options and you don't even have to tell him that. I would be doing that before you have this conversation, to be honest. I would be making sure that this is done so that when you do bring it up, if you bring it up, it's happened. It's not a discussion. He can't fight you on it. It's happened. You've only been together 5 or 6 months, but you think he's great and he's going to be hanging around. So like it's just smart. We as women need to protect ourselves in every single aspect. And you fucking hustled and you're killing it. So retain it.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I just overarchingly think don't necessarily assume that it's going to be an awkward conversation because it might not. He might pleasantly surprise you and be like, yeah, no, I feel exactly the same.
It shouldn't be.
Yeah.
If it is awkward, if I had said that to Ben and Ben was like, whoa, hang on. Like I want to make sure that if we split up, I get everything. I'd be like, see ya. Okay, this is a little bit different. To give you a little background to my family, I am married with a 6-year-old daughter from a previous marriage. Now, my new husband is amazing. He adores my daughter so much you wouldn't even know that he wasn't her biological dad. And we are having another baby in November. So they're a beautiful, solidified family. My in-laws were really great for the first few months, but we have had a few issues come up and I want to know what your opinion is on this very particular scenario. My daughter was having a sleepover with my in-laws who she absolutely adores. Now, I found out whilst they had her sleeping over that my husband's mum's nephew, so the daughter's stepdad's
nephew,
mum's nephew.
Sorry. Okay, yes. Yeah.
So basically a young family member on this stepdad's side.
Yes.
Yeah. So this nephew had come over and also had a sleepover. Now, he is 9 and my daughter is 6. We found out that they slept in the same bed in a room upstairs together.
What?
And the parents-in-laws were sleeping downstairs. So it's like, I guess, look at it in a way of almost, I guess, a kind of form of cousins having a sleepover, but cousins from different sides.
Yeah.
6 and 9, and they've been put in the same bed upstairs. When we confronted them and said, hey, like, this isn't cool, what's going on? They basically implied that we were being dramatic and they refused to accept that we weren't okay with it. They did not apologize. They think that we are being dramatic and like taking this out of context. Just to add on, when my husband picked her up, he walked into the room and they were watching movies and TV shows in the bed together, not supervised, and the nephew didn't even recognize who my husband was, just to set the context of them not being like super close family members. And so basically she's saying, I feel like the parents are gaslighting and being like, it's cool, you're being dramatic, like this is a normal thing.
Oh, I cannot be more on your side. I'm outraged for you.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
I'm actually so fucking fired up, and it's not because I'm implying that the nephew is a bad kid or that kind of thing.
He's a stranger.
It is so irresponsible for them to let children sleep in the same bed when they hardly know each other and also not tell the parents.
Or not ask.
Totally. This would be such a different conversation if they had, said to you, hey, we also have agreed to mind Johnny. Are you okay with the fact that we've only got one spare room? They will be sharing a bed together. Like if that was a conversation with you first, play on. That's
because you'd be like, no.
Yeah, because you're able to actually consent to the situation. The fact that this has happened retrospectively and they don't see a problem with that is fucking wild to me. I'm so angry for you because a vulnerable child, and I'm not implying that this kid is a bad kid or that he would ever do anything wrong.
You don't know him.
You just don't know. You just don't know. And the fact that your child is being put in an environment that you have no control over and they think it's okay that they can just make decisions for you for where your child is going to be unsupervised in a bed in a sleeping arrangement is crazy.
Yeah, and if we just peel this back to like the basics, it doesn't really matter what they think. You're the parent and you've set the rules. You do not want or think it's okay for your child to sleep unsupervised in a bed with a stranger. Whether, or even if it's not a stranger, even if it was a cousin she was really close to and you all knew them, as the parent, if you say no, they have to respect that. The fact that they're arguing the point and almost gaslighting you into saying you're overreacting and like calm down, that's an issue in itself, right? And so I just want to validate that and say whatever you say goes. But apart from that, you're not being overdramatic. It's absolutely warranted to feel like that. And I feel sad for you now that it's obviously going to fracture your relationship with his family, like with your in-laws. But I just wonder what your husband has said, like how far he has gone with it. Is he backing you up in that situation? He obviously feels uncomfortable if he came back and said, look, they were watching TV in bed. I mean, what are you going to do other than remove your daughter from that situation, not let her stay over anymore? And I think it's funny because it's only as an adult in the last couple of years that I've really realized the dangers that can be attached with sleepovers. And I say that because I had sleepovers all the time as kids. Kids sleeping at my house, me sleeping at their house, and they were never strangers there, but it wasn't something that was ever, I don't know, I'd have to ask my parents. I don't think it was ever something that was a worry to them. I think it's like maybe we didn't have the same level of access to just how much is going wrong in the world as we do now. So we're more hyper aware of what's happening. But it's sad because some of the best memories of my life are at those sleepovers, but we can't put our head in the sand and pretend the things that are happening in these environments aren't happening.
Absolutely. And again, I'm not implying that your family are predators or even that this little boy is. Like, I wonder if I would feel exactly the same if it was a little girl, like if it was a niece who had stayed over. But the truth is I would. I think that this comes down to consent and it comes down to protection of children and you being aware of the environment that child is in. And I agree with you, Britt. Like sleepovers were just the best. I used to have them every single weekend as a kid. And to be fair, there were probably kids, like a lot of the time I would stay at a friend's house and they would have siblings who would also have, be staying at the house. And it just so happened that a lot of my friends' siblings were also older than them. So I guess there were a lot of dynamics. Like I have a brother, so there would have been times where I was having a sleepover with a friend and then he was also having sleepovers with a friend. And so those boys would have been in the equation as well. And I guess it's not until, like you said, it's not until I've been an adult that I'm like, oh, that
could have gone wrong.
Should have been a conversation. Like, I'm lucky I had fantastic people around me.
But I wonder if our parents were having those conversations. You don't know.
I do.
I wonder if so my sister or my brother would have people sleep over when I did as well, right?
Yeah.
I wonder if our parents were like, hey, just so you know, Britt's got some people over as well and Dane's got some people over, Mitch has got some people over. Like I wonder if they were hyper aware enough to like have those conversations then.
I don't know if they would have.
I have to ask them.
Maybe
we'll report back.
Look, maybe this is a generational thing
Yeah,
and I
for
want to
sure.
give them a little bit of grace for the fact that they probably just grew up and they weren't as aware of what some of the dangers of these environments are. And I know that sounds horrible. I know it's like it's taking something that is such a small percentage statistically and applying it to the rule for everyone. But when it comes to the protection of children, I don't give a shit. I don't care that it's not statistically likely to be the case. Like if there's one group that I will get so fired up about and think that we need to go above and beyond, it's innocent children.
Yeah, at the end of the day, this is a really easy conversation for me. Like we could get so in depth in it and I don't want to sound like we're party poopers, but it's just a fact of it. Like it's up to you as a parent what you want to allow, and maybe you're more comfortable in the future for sleepovers with kids at your house, but then you're depending on those parents being comfortable, and it's a case by case situation. But this one, absolutely, like you are not overreacting. You need to set the boundaries with your parent-in-laws, and if you don't trust that they're going to follow through, you just can't send them there anymore.
Send us your parents-in-law's phone number and we'll give them a call.
We absolutely will not.
Tell them that they are in the wrong here. I rarely feel so 100% about situations, like I usually try and see where they're coming from, but I am just so wholeheartedly on your side.
And we are not parents, obviously, but we have nieces and nephews and stuff. But we asked Ness, our video editor, she's got 2 little kids, and we said, how do you feel about sleepovers? She's like, never. I would never let my kids have a sleepover. they could, if she knows them down the track when they're older, maybe kids could sleep over at her house on different situations. But I just think that is probably more of the general consensus these days. I feel like people are more leaning into not having those sleepovers unless there's that really tight inner core circle of your friends. Like the people that I used to sleep over, there were probably like, it wasn't everyone, there were probably like 5 friends. We were friends. We were best friends all through school. But again, that doesn't really matter because you don't know the families. You don't know the people that are coming into that house. And yeah, it's like, fuck, you do you, man. Like you're the parents and it's your family. You do whatever you want to protect your children.
Absolutely.
RIP to the sleepover. RIP to the humble sleepover.
That makes me sad though, like, because
Me
they were
too.
such good experiences. I think it's just about knowing, this to me is not actually about the sleepover. It's about the fact that they didn't let you know it was happening. So, because then you're not in control of that, you know, making up whether you're okay with your kid being in that environment. So it doesn't sound to me like you're against sleepovers. I think that you would be for sleepovers if you knew the kids and you knew the people who were going, like the adults who were going to be around your child.
RIP to the sleepovers with strangers.
Yeah, far out. That's crazy. Anyway, if you have an opinion on this, you can let us know on YouTube, in the comments. You can comment on Spotify. You can message us. We always put our Ask Uncut questions up on Instagram, so you can let us know what you think. Maybe you disagree. Maybe you think that we're being a bit too mollycoddly of children, and maybe you think that, you know, everyone's gone soft. Who knows?
And that's the thing. Everyone has a different opinion. We love that. We're here for it. We welcome the opinions. But one thing we'll ask you to do is go and subscribe to YouTube. All our videos, longs and shorts, all the little clips are on YouTube. So that's the place to be at the moment. So make sure you go hit subscribe and leave us a comment over there. Keep your accidentally unfiltered coming in, and your Ask Uncut questions. You'll always be anonymous.
Send them to us on Instagram at Life Uncut Podcast. You can chuck them into our Facebook group, Life Uncut Discussion Group, or you can actually email them to us as well at hello@lifeuncutpodcast.com.
I'm not going to lie, we prefer the DMs.
It is easier to collate from there, but, you know, you do you however you wish to send them into us.
You know the drill. To mum, to dad, to dog, to friends, and share the love because
We love love. You left me hanging.
Yeah. Because you fucked me on the vibe.